Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. We have a super fun and super easy wreath tutorial for you tonight. This is a familiar petal, but we're going to do it all different. We're not going to use a wood burner. We're not going to fuse anything. You're going to fold this in such a way that there will be no raw edges, and you're going to love it. So let's get started. So we're going to start this wreath off with green poly burlap. And as you can see, I'm not getting out a wood burner. We're going to cut 12 pieces at 16 inches each. It's very important for you to remember that. Then we're going to take a 12-inch wreath frame and we're going to cut out a piece of canvas mesh to put in the middle. We'll need that later. But this is the way that we're going to add all of our leaves to our wreath is that canvas mesh. And we're going to work our way through it. So you're just going to take little zip ties and attach it to your wreath frame. Now you're going to take your piece of mesh, curl side up, and you're going to fold it over like this. Okay, you're going to have about 2.5 inches excess on each side, and then you're going to fold it over again. Now the back of your petal is going to have the finished side showing. So this way it really does keep all the fraying out of the elements, and it really is a great way to make a petal. This will also make a great petal using deco mesh as well, because then you're doubling up on the look of the mesh here, really kind of quadrupling it, and it's just going to give you a better look. So it's a great way to use deco mesh as well. Now we're going to take both of these leaves and we're going to attach it to the bracket and second bar of this frame. Do you see where that is? That's what you're going to do. You're going to take your zip tie and you're going to secure it to that bracket. Now, because we're using a 12-inch wreath, we are going to need 2 sets of leaves for each bracket, and this particular wreath form has 6 of them, so that's why we need 12. And then I'm going to use this tool. I get it on Amazon, and I'll leave the link down below, but it goes pretty quickly, and I love how this turns out. Now, once you get all your leaves taken care of, we're going to use this deco poly mesh. This is not poly burlap. And we're going to cut 29 pieces at 16 inches wide. Now, it's really important to keep this really consistent. Now, I'm not going to do the first wire or the second wire, but we're going to start on the third wire. And now, in between the brackets, we are going to put 2 of these petals in between each of these brackets. You're going to do the same method. You're going to fold over your mesh, and then you're going to fold over it again, and then you're going to gather, and you're going to shape your petal and make it the way that you want. Sometimes I had to kind of stretch it out a little bit or adjust it a little bit, but then you're going to add it to the zip tie. Now you can make a loop with the zip tie and do it that way, or you can just leave it unlooped and then loop it once you get it together. Now, I think that this comes out beautifully, and I love a good flower wreath, and I especially love a beautiful yellow sunflower. And I'm not sure if I would call this a sunflower or what is it, a lazy Susan? No, or a painted Susan. I don't know. What am I looking for? Something about a Susan, and there's a flower that's named that. But I just think that this turned out so pretty when this is done, and it's just a very nice and substantial flower wreath. When I get that little handy dandy tool. I have a couple of these. Some have red handles, some have yellow, but it's a really sharp blade, so you're going to want to be very, very careful. But this just kind of gets out the excess, and you don't have to do this step, but it does help in the end putting it all together. So I took an 8-inch wreath frame, and I thought I'm going to just make a little bit of a grid on my center of my wreath just to kind of keep me, honestly, guys, I get a little lopsided. So when it comes to putting petals on this, and this is my preferred method, so I'm going to do this. And then you're going to put zip ties in, and really you would think, Julie, you're going to put one in between each of these petals, but no, I just kind of went as I normally do, and we didn't do it between each petal because sometimes it wasn't really enough room, and I didn't want it to be too crowded. But guys, I really think this is coming together beautifully, and I have something to share with you. And if you guys are somebody who wants to sell your wreaths, wants to sell your crafts, you're going to want to get into my workshop that's coming up May 5th and 6th, 2025. And I'm going to leave all of that down below. It is called the Facebook Formula, turning your creativity into cash flow, because who can't use some extra money to buy some more craft supplies to be able to make the things that you love? And I teach you how to do that. And we're going to really tackle Facebook. And you know what? You can actually post on Facebook and get paid for it. And I'm going to teach you how to do it and how to do it easier. And if you're somebody who wants to think about selling and you just haven't really taken the plunge yet, then you're going to want to get into that workshop. So make sure that you check out the description box below. Make sure you're opening up our emails. If you're not on my email list, where are you? We want you on that email list because we give you all the details about Julie's Wreath Boutique there. So once you get to the middle, we're going to do one of two things. You're going to either add more petals or you're going to add a bigger sunflower or flower middle. It's really up to you, but we're going to do a third row. And I used that same wreath and just made some little guides to help me to make sure that I keep that circle up, because sometimes I go a little wonky. So this was a lot of fun. I'm going to show you here in a moment how to make your own center out of felt. But total, we used about 29 to 30 of these petals. My husband counted them for me, so we're going to say 29 to 30 just in case he forgot one. But you will need about 1.5 rolls of this mesh. You could use poly burlap, you could use deco mesh. I will leave some options in the description box below for you. All right, so I got my cutting mat out, and if you want to get a cutting mat like this, you can get it from Marie's of Joy. I always have her link down below, and they sell amazing products. And you can use my coupon code. It's all in the description box. But we are going to cut this felt. Now, this felt is felt I bought at Hobby Lobby. I think it's about 70 inches wide. Don't quote me on that. And you're going to cut about 2.5-inch strip of it, okay? Then you're going to need a backing for your wreath, and that's how I do that. So we're going to take the felt and we are going to add a layer of glue. And if you notice this particular video, if it goes a little bit brighter to a little bit yellower, I'm not really sure. I think this is an issue with my phone, but I had the same lighting throughout. There I'd kind of burn my finger. Be careful, just be careful. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to fold over that felt onto itself long ways, and we're going to glue it down. You're only going to need one full strip for this, but if you needed a bigger center, you would do two. Now, once you get this all dried and ready, you're going to take the pieces of felt and we're going to double them up like I'm showing you here. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this way is I like to work faster and not go as long, right? So the top of this little like hem of felt is where I glued it, and the bottom where I'm cutting is where we did not glue it. So this is a very important step. And so you're just going to cut very small slits into your felt, and you're going to see here in a minute how I do it, and I accidentally cut all the way, but that's okay because I'm going to show you how you can still use it. All right, So you're going to take a piece of wire. This is going to connect it to your wreath frame. I'm going to bend it in half, and then we're going to glue this onto the felt. All right. I don't know if you've ever seen any little like felt flowers. This is basically what they do, but this is on a bigger scale for a center in a flower wreath. So you're going to add a little bit of glue and you're going to get this started. Be very careful. Please do not burn your fingers. I've done that many times and I don't want you to experience the same. And then you're going to roll this onto itself here, and we're going to let that set up before we keep going so that it'll be a little bit easier to control when we put it all together. So I walked away for a few minutes and let this set up, and I'm back and I'm going to keep adding glue. So this is just a test of patience. And I just want you to be very careful with this, okay? This is where you take your time and you're just going to keep rolling that felt. And basically you're going to make a nice, beautiful, like little felt flower. And it's going to be really beautiful. Now, I debated whether or not to do an orange center. I ended up coming back to the brown because it's like timeless. It's like a classic, right? And with the yellow and the brown, this particular wreath could get you into fall if you didn't want to make another one. Look how pretty that is. So you're going to keep rolling the felt, and then I'm going to show you how to add the extra pieces that I accidentally cut. I didn't mean to do that, but you know, here we are. We got to use it, right? So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue and take my time, and we're just going to keep rolling with it. And you're never going to know that I cut the felt. So just know if you cut the felt like I did, it's okay. We make mistakes as crafters, but we can make it look beautiful. And we're going to put this all together, and we're going to put it on our wreath form. But this is going to be so pretty. This flower turned out amazing, and I can't wait to see yours. So if you've made it all the way through the video, now you know I'm going to ask you to put an emoji. I'm going to ask you to put your favorite flower emoji. If you don't have any emojis that are flowers, just tell me your favorite flower in the comments and let me know, what color wreath would you like to do? Like, what combination would you like? You could also get the pre-made flower centers and use those if that's what you prefer. But I always like to add a little bit of something different, and this one turned out beautifully. This is a wreath that I've made before, but not with this particular petal, and I love the way that folding it all just made it a richer petal. So we're going to put it through the middle of our wreath form. That's where that plastic canvas comes in really handy. And look how pretty she is. She is beautiful. So we're going to just twist her wires on the back, and then we're going to cut the wires, and we're going to put the wires back into the actual canvas here so they're not poking through. Now, do you have to add a cover to the back of this wreath? No, you don't. Especially if you have a door that you're not going to see the other side and you don't care. Don't worry about it. But this is where I like to add a cover, and this is where this felt comes in handy. I'm using these scissors. I literally, guys, these scissors are 25 years old. That's how old these are. And they're really good scissors, and you can get them still over on Amazon. So check out my Amazon storefront. I even have a Walmart storefront. I would love to have you check it out. I'm always adding new items all the time. But now you're going to take some little zip ties, and we're going to zip tie them across. I like to go from one side to the other to kind of stretch it out a little bit. And then we put about 6 zip ties in all for this wreath. We're going to put them on, and then we're going to clip them off, and then we're going to just roll them underneath. And this is the finished product. She turned out beautifully, and I hope that you love this wreath as much as I did making it for you. I hope you love this video. It was a fun project to make, and I hope that you will make it too. So remember to leave me that flower emoji down in the comments and tell me, what colors would you do with this wreath? We will see you next Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Julie's Wreath Boutique. Bye-bye.